Hi, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Feel free to subscribe if you're interested in any of these things right here. And if not, that's fine. I'll see you later. Yeah, so if you hear loud music and banging, my husband is in his forge. And if you hear screaming, my children are on the VR. Ta-da! That's it. I can't do anything. But I am going to be fucking with this makeup palette right here. It is the Profusion Kaleidoscope palette. It's nice. I like it. It's whatever. So yeah. That's what we're doing today. So yeah. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm kind of aggravated. That's fine. I think that's normal. I think my normal, like I wake up and it's like aggravation. No kidding. It is midday and I woke up. It was very cold and so I was happy, but I wanted more sleep. I think I took too much melatonin last night. Didn't see the Hat Man. He was a no-show. I guess he doesn't love me anymore. Just kidding. Thanks a lot, Hat Man. Just kidding. What is it? Only Benadryl? Have you guys seen that video? There's like a horse named Chicken Nugget, and the owner is giving it a carrot. But from our perspective, like you're looking at the horse, and she's handing the horse a carrot, and she's like, "Here you go, Chicken Nugget. Here's a carrot." And she says it definitely doesn't have like 12 Benadryl in it. And from our perspective, looking at the backside of this carrot, there is like 12 fucking pills, like the carrot's split in half to an extent, like an open book, and there's Benadryl shoved all up in that carrot. It is insane. It is insane. You know that horse saw some version of the Hat Man that night. Like, I hope Chicken Nugget is okay. Like, R.I.P. Chicken Nugget. I'm just kidding. I don't know if it's dead. I don't think it's dead. But yeah. So anyways. Yeah, I think that's funny. I think about Chicken Nugget and that Benadryl carrot a lot. But I also think about another stupid thing I saw, and it is somebody's making chia seed pudding. And then their mother's like, "No, I know you lying. I ain't never bought you no chia pet pussy." Like, so every time I see chia seeds, I think that's what they're called, chia seeds. I don't know. I fuck up words, and I look like a dumbass, and I am one. So leave me alone. Thanks. No, but there's yeah. So every time I see chia seeds, I think chia pet pussy. I ain't never bought you no chia pet pussy. She's like, "I'm making chia seed pudding," and her mom's like, "No, I know you lying, because I ain't never bought you." Anyways, here's the palette. Here's the palette, and I've been using my fingers. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let's see what I feel like. I'm sorry, I'm analyzing my face and realizing I just want to punch it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Is that a hawk? No, those are leaves. I love how I'm so fucking blind, but I can identify birds from very far away. It's like my superhero gift. I'm just like, is that a fucking hawk? No, it's a crow. I can identify them by their tail, their wing shape, and their flight patterns. So even though I am very blind and I should not legally drive a car without my glasses, I have like this strange problem where I can identify birds by their flight pattern, shape, and wing from very far away. I don't know. I have problems. And I love birds. I don't know. Anyways, shut up, bitch. We're going to be using this color. Oh, it's gold. We're going to be putting it there. I don't know. While I just chat with you guys. Yeah. Get ready with me. So anyways, time to get real. Now that I've put on 2 pieces of makeup, time to get real. So me and my husband have had like a couple of drinks over the past month. We've been drinking Mead. We've been trying a bunch of different types of Mead, and I've been collecting mead. And also, ironically, throughout the month of December, people have been giving us mead, like from all over Texas. So in December, it was like mead month, like hardcore. I made 2 gallons of it, roughly 2 gallons of mead that are now kind of, I think they're past the fermenting process and now they're at the bottle and aging process. Anyways, so yeah. Yeah, so December has been about learning about mead flavors, profiles, and stuff like that, and also purchasing from a lot of local breweries, in Texas. And it's so funny to say local because Texas is like like second or third biggest state in the United States of America. The fucker's huge, so local could mean 12 hours away. That's not local, slut. Anyways, I hate Texas. Don't tell Texas, but I hate Texas. Yeah. Anyways, so confession time. I love American Gods, all right? I love the book. The book was so delicious. I read the book, I think about 8 to 10 years ago. And it made me so happy. I loved it so much. And then I found out that they're making a series and I was like, holy shit, oh my God, what the fuck, right? Cool, great, fantastic. Love the book, right? Yeah. So I haven't sat through season 3 yet of American Gods. And I mean, I sat through season 2 and I know that like from the book to the screen, there is like creative whatever. And so it's different and it's fine, but it's also aggravating. So I'm watching season 3 and there's like, the many different flavors of Mr. World and stuff like that. And I'm like a huge Crispin Glover fan. So I'm just like, where's Crispin? Like, where's he at? But so anyways, I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? And then I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Anyways, yeah. I'm just gonna stop talking about him now. Anyways, we're gonna talk about American Gods. So shut the fuck up. So anyways, I have to shut up now. Oh my God, I have to reset myself. I have like the lamest, like I have the lamest crush. I need to shut the fuck up. I just can't. Every time I'm like, I don't mention him around me, don't show me anything about him because I'm going to turn into like a little fangirl, and it is the most embarrassing aspect of my personality. That is a vulture. It is the most embarrassing aspect of my personality that I even allow myself to have emotions. Like, wow, fucking lame. But yeah, if I ever see anything, I'm just like, like, and then I'm like, okay, girl, chill out, stop. How about you just fucking like calm the fuck down? Anyways, so yeah. So season 3, the licenses, the creative like differences of the book, and there's another vulture. What's going on? The differences between the book and the the screen in the book or whatever. It's okay, but then also like. Like there's aggravation because I don't know. So I'm trying to sit through season 3 of American Gods, and it is so difficult for me because I don't really like it. There's parts I do like. There's parts I really do like, and so now it has become a this very aggravating thing where my best friend, she. Okay, sorry, follow me for a moment while I yammer. So my best friend, about 8 to 10 years ago, she moved to Haiti, or she was moving to Haiti. She came to my house, she got a tarot reading, and we discussed her path ahead of her. And so I was like telling her the things that she may see and the things that may happen and the things that were and were not, right? As a tarot reading goes. And I was using one of my new decks I had at the time, and I was showing her, and I was like, you have to be careful. And I was looking at somebody that was with her, and I was like, you have to be careful for foxes and tricksters that are along the way that may sway you in certain ways whenever you are becoming something and they want you to be something else and things of that nature. I was just telling her the things that were and were not, um, in the lands and realms of possibilities, right? The endless possibilities. And I had the book, American Gods, and I had finished it, and my husband had finished it. And it is rare that my husband reads a book. It is very rare. But yeah, he does not read books at all. I read tons of them. I have this like affair with books. I'm like, there's always a book near me. There's a book near me. There's a book up on my bed. I have books everywhere. I have piles and piles of books in my house. I don't think you understand. I have fucking piles and piles of books in my house. Also VHS. That I just saw VHS. VHS books. Yeah, I just have piles of books in my house everywhere. I have bookshelves filled with books and then piles, like little altars throughout my house of books. And anyway, so okay. So my husband read the book, and so he was like, I love it, whatever. And I read it and I was like, I love it, whatever. And then at that time we were traveling to Montana and all these things and like going through all these beautiful places. And it was enough to make you, I don't know, I like when you live in a place how I live and you go to some beautiful place like Montana, Yellowstone, these like beautiful places where there's mountains and rivers and snow and more than what you have here, which is just horseshit. It breaks you because you want it so deeply that I would have sacrificed myself to get it. I would have sacrificed everything to get it. And it sucks. It sucks when you go to so like places filled with like such natural beauty, and it's enough to make you want to die. When you come back to a place that is hell, it is enough to make you want to die. Anyway, so I finished the book, and we were going through a very strange time in my life, so I was like, well, I guess I could let it go. And she was moving to Haiti, and I was like, you're going to be in like the realm of your ancestors and doing this and that, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you should read this book too. Anyways, so I let it go, and I gave it to my friend 8 to 10 years ago. And she posted a video or a picture or something. I was, because I still follow her. And I was looking at her shelf, her bookshelf, and there was a copy of American Gods that I gave to her. Sitting there amongst all of her metaphysical books, there was Emily's little gift, and I was just like, she still loves me. Like, it was just like, she has gone through so many things that I would have figured that it would be gone and out of her possession by then, but it was still there on her shelf, and I was just like, wow. Like, you could feel love. I don't know, I felt loved, and I was like, I gave her something and she valued it. Like, to see, I don't know, it's weird. I'm the kind of person that sometimes it's nice to see a validation of things. I don't know, because words are not always so comforting. Sometimes they are. Sometimes the words are life changing, but to see something like that, I was like, oh my gosh, she loved me. She loves me. Like, it was like I gave her a thing and she held on to it for 10 years, even though her life was like this, that, and moving here and going there, that. It was still in her possession, and I was just like, oh my god, like, I don't know. It was to have a companion throughout your life like that, to have a best friend, somebody that your relationship is like not sexual or anything, but just to have a true companion. It makes all the difference. It really does. To have somebody you can confide into and ask questions and ask those big strange questions that a lot of people are off put by. It is divinity in human form, that kind of connection. So I got rid of my copy, but my friend still has it, and I was just like, wow. So anyways, I was watching season 3 of American Gods, and I was drinking because my husband had a bottle of mead. I had a bottle of mead. The magnificent thing about mead is that I don't get hungover. It is just sweet. It is like a beautiful woman kissing my lips all throughout the night, and I am in just the ecstasy of honey bliss. It is so sweet and delicious. And it allows me to feel things that I had repressed for quite some time, and to say things that I had repressed for quite some time. But I'm still in control of my body. I just feel more like better. I don't know how to explain it. So I got drunk and I watched season 3 of American Gods. And I sat there and I was just so frustrated because I was confused and I'm still not done with it. And so I was just sitting there for hours drunk, like, there's this episode of Portlandia where the mailman is trying to get this girl. She like ordered back when you could order Netflix DVDs through the mail. She was ordering DVDs through the mail. It was like a DVD library. You ordered it on Netflix, it got to your house through the mail, and then you gave it back in a certain time, or you had to pay for it, much like a library. Yes, I think that's how it was. Anyways, oh god. So, it was like the cabinet of Dr. Caligari or something. He kept trying to make her watch it. And then she was like, yeah, no, I get it. She's like going crazy watching it. She's like, no, I understand it, blah, blah, and all this stuff. And like, I was just watching season 3 and I was just like, what am I watching? What is happening? What is going on? None of this is making sense. So anyways, it was just different. I guess it was a whole complete different thing. Like how Interview with the Vampire is like, you know, at the soul of it, it has Anne Rice's baby and all these things, but it has become other things, you know, now, you know what I mean? Like, it's still kind of, the meat is still on the bone, but the flavors are more complex and different and moving this way and that way. But the story, you're still going down the same river. There's just different attractions. You know what I'm saying? But for American Gods, it was like I detoured off a complete separate river, and there was none of the same familiar attractions. There were similar faces and places, but there was this like confusing. And I was just like, and so I was drunk trying to watch it, trying to pay attention. I was like, And then I like drunk bought. This is what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to tattletale on myself. So I drunk bought like American Gods and then some books on Irish fairy stories, scary Irish fairy stories from Eddie Lenihan. I think this is his name, Eddie Lenihan. And because I go, that's what I do. I drink and then I buy books and then I have more piles of books around my house. I have a problem, perhaps. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a bad problem to have, but maybe it's not a problem. Maybe that's just what I do. I drink and I read books and I buy books and then I have piles all over my house of books. Weird books. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what happened. That's what I was trying to tell you. That I perhaps had one too many bottles of mead. I was watching American Gods. I got frustrated because I was confused and I rebought the book. That was a very long story on something so simple to tell. But I had to tell you, like, from the years before and all the things, all the parts are moving, whatever. Anyways, so that is my story. Oh. Yeah. So, number 1, what did we learn today? My best friend still loves me. Number 2, I love Crispin Glover. Number 3, don't ever mention him around me or you're going to see me turn into a puddle of fangirl and then I'll probably jump off a bridge. Number 4, what were we talking about? Number 5, I drank too much mead and I ordered books. I can't wait for the books from, I got another one. It's called Meeting the Other Crowd by Eddie. He's a folklorist. He goes around and he collects he is like a modern Snorri to me. Like, he goes around collecting folk stories from people in Ireland and around the UK, I believe. And he is like a storyteller. And I love storytellers. I love listening. Listen, okay. I'm trying to be honest, but I'm judging myself while it's coming out, and I'm just like, shut up. I'm trying to like retract myself. Okay. I love listening to older men talk because I have a problem. And so I can listen to podcasts of people talking for hours. But I love storytellers and I love listening to stories. And yeah. And also I don't know. I just yeah. Okay. I said nothing and I said everything. There. No. No, yeah, I do have this like fascination with storytelling, and I love listening to older men talk. And especially storytellers. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. But yeah. How many times am I gonna say yeah? Yeah. Anyways, so yeah. But at the same time, I'm such a fucking dumbass because I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think I have problems and they're secrets. Nah, but I do love listening to storytellers. I knew this man who was he was like a 33rd degree Mason or something like that. But he also fucked around with Odin. It was one of his like he was a just shut up and listen. So I used to talk to this man who he hosted witchcraft classes, and at the place I worked at, he taught people witchcraft. And so I would talk to him and his wife, and they were a beautiful couple, and they did a lot for the pagan community in San Antonio. But I loved listening to him tell stories, and we talked about Mason stuff and whatnot to an extent. Obviously, probably stuff that he can't really tell me and things of that nature. But I talked to him, and sometimes I'd ask him questions, and that it's so useful to have an older masculine figure to talk to, like a mentor, to be like, hey, I had this strange dream. Can I pick your brain for a second? With all of your knowledge and wisdom, and you're much older than me, and you've been into the occult for far longer than I have, may I please pick your brain for a minute? And sometimes you could tell that people will hold back. Older people will hold back because they know that you're supposed to do the work yourself. Younger people, we're stupid, we're clumsy, we're fucking idiots. But older people will kind of sit back and listen to you and stay silent and go, And within that, is endlessness. Within that, you know? And that's all they have to say. And then you know that it is something you must discover yourself. Or sometimes they will, like, he was so full of riddles. And I think it's because he fucked with Odin quite a lot. And he kind of looked like Odin. He had like this huge, like, long brimmed hat. And he walked around with the staff, and sometimes it was just like, and then one time I confronted him about it. I was like, hey, come here. You look a lot like Odin. And he would be like, that's crazy because that's somebody who I fuck with. Blah, blah. He didn't say that. He was very respectful. I said things like that. He did not. But there was a respect that we had, I think, to an extent for each other that I was grateful for, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's always good to have somebody who is into the occult that is much older than you, that is much wiser than you, that you could kind of lean on. And also, his wife was extraordinarily interesting and beautiful as well. And they had been together for so long. And her favorite thing to say was that he is either the most wonderful, marvelous, generous, beautiful, loyal man on the planet, or he's a goddamn good con man. And I was like, oh no. She's like, either one or two things or both are true. He is either all of these beautiful things, or he is the world's greatest con man. And I was just like, oh, is that not the truth? I don't know. If anybody who has been, how do you say, married to a man probably knows what I'm talking about. Because I feel like that's how it feels like with all men. Sorry to men, not to be mean to you, and I'm sorry to anybody who identifies as a man. I'm not trying to be rude to you or anything. I'm speaking from personal experience. Um, it feels like that sometimes. Like either this is, especially I don't know, in America and in these times and days, it's very difficult. Like the humans are not always together forever. Like I grew up in this fantasy world that life was supposed to be one way, and it is not always that the way I imagined and wish and whatnot. But um, as somebody who has spoken to older men and talked to them and things like that, you do get a sense like I'm not spoken not in a sexual way. How am I sound like an idiot. Um, as somebody who frequently will literally pick the brains of older men, um, and just like I don't know, I find a lot my company I spend with older women and older men, and I feel much better from 50 up. That's just like the kind of crowd of people I hang around with. When I go to the metaphysical shops, it's always just a bunch of older women. Nobody my age is really on my shit, and the people on my age on my shit are unfortunately so far gone. You know, they are wrapped up in addiction and multiple like root chakra issues is the only way I could say it, like addiction from everywhere. It's just hard to kind of communicate to somebody my age the things that I want to communicate, which is kind of some of the stuff I talk to you guys about. But whenever I'm in public, sometimes I lay down the cuss words. I don't cuss as much. My tongue is not as sharp in public places and spaces. Um, but it can be. I can lean forward really quick. Um, anyways, so but yeah, when I go to like metaphysical shops and talk to people, it's usually older women. And I've always kept company with older women and older men and just spoken to them. I just feel so comfortable around them. It feels like just a big hug to be around older people. I don't know. Every time I'm around younger people, I'm just like, oh my god, shut. Like you can learn a lot though. I'm sorry, but I'm being honest. Sometimes when I'm around younger people, I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like I worked with a bunch of 18-year-olds. Oh my god. And some of them were extremely privileged. Like this one girl, her daddy paid for her to go to school, to college in Scotland. And so she got to go to Scotland because her daddy paid for it. Her daddy pays for everything, kind of thing. And I don't even have a father. I've never had a father. What are you talking about? Like, who are you talking to, honey? I don't even know what the fuck. I can't relate on any level to what you're fucking saying. You had money, you had parents, people loved you. You're talking to the wrong bitch. I was just like, oh my god. But not only that, but she was kind of a hoe. And she kept bending over in front of married men and that like I worked with, and I was just like, and that's none of my business. It's really none of my business. Anyway, she tried to add me on Facebook not too long ago, and I was like, ah! I was like, no, we're not friends. Stop it. We're just coworkers. And anyways, yeah, I just don't agree with your values. Go away. I'm just I'm a very old lady stuck in this body. Like I'm a very old person in my body with a very bad mouth, with a very bad potty mouth. I have a lot of strange values as well that are like, like I am kind of like a crow. I want to mate for life. I want to like just build a foundation, and I'm just so much more like a bird than I am like a human, and I'm also an idiot. So yeah, I have like this fantasy. I don't know, perhaps it's autism. I don't know, maybe it's autism. I don't know. Can't be for sure, can't be for certain, but maybe. But yeah, it's just very frustrating because I have like these older values that do not mix very well with people my generation or even like the younger generation. So they'd be like, oh my god, that's so restrictive. You only want to love one person forever, and you only want to be like blah blah. They're like, I want to love everybody all the time at any given moment. And I'm like I'm like sexually I'm I'm not really interested in men. So whenever I do find a man that I am interested in, or that I have like, I'm like, like my heart stops for, like all time stops for, like I could get hit by a fucking train because I would just stop in the fucking middle of nowhere. That is always like a strange call to like my own subconscious mind. I'm like, why do I have feelings for this person? What the fuck is this shit? You know? Because I'm not like sexually attracted to men or humans, and so it's very strange. I'm not sexually attracted to really anything. I'm just kind of shut down. um I guess that's just me being honest. So anyways, yeah, I'm a strange person. I'm a strange creature, and that's fine. It's okay. I understand myself. Know thyself, you know what I mean? Silence is golden. Unfortunately, that second one I just can't get my head wrapped around. Shutting the fuck up. But yeah, anyways. So I miss my friends. I guess that's what I miss, my older friends. I don't know if they're alive or if they're dead, and I'm kind of sad. The worst part about having older friends is that they die before you do. And then it's sad. And then you're like, oh God. You know what I think to myself? I think to myself, we'll never see another person like that again for quite some time. Oh, hell, fuck, shit, you know? Anyways, I love, when I worked at the metaphysical shop, I'd hang around the old ladies that were tarot readers, and, you know, they did readings and Reiki and crystal ball stuff, and you know, they would be knitting yarn and whatnot. They remind me a lot of Frigg, the goddess, just sewing and telling fortunes, and you know, knitting. There's one lady, she was always knitting stuff and telling fortunes and stuff, and yeah, it's really sad whenever someone dies, because you feel like a really big light leaves the world. And I guess that's the worst part about having older friends, is that they die before you do. And then I feel personally like a light has gone out in the world and my world. And then I look to try to fill that void or space, and I know that I could never feel that void or space. It was just always going to be there, you know? And so you have to, like, I guess because of that void in space, you have to kind of place a shrine there for what was, you know, the light that was there that has now gone to some other place in space. But I knew it while it was here, and it was magnificent to talk to that light, to talk to that person, to pick their brain. And I'm not saying all younger folks are like stupid or whatever. I'm saying the ones I was working with were no. Some of them weren't, though. Some of them were really cute, really smart. I had worked with this one girl who wanted to go into acting, and she wanted to be like in, you know, she was in college for that. A lot of the girls I worked with that were very young came from a lot of money, and couldn't relate, could not relate, can't relate. I've told you guys many times, I grew up basically homeless, couch surfing. Like, I can't relate. You have a mom and a dad, they're paying for your college, and you're just at this job just as a silly little thing. I'm at this job to literally feed my family. I'm a poor person. Like, what? Like, who? You know, like, what? That's that. You know. But yeah, she was really cool, and very intelligent. And another girl I worked with, they were all like 18. They were all like 18, 19. I was like, I was so scared. I felt like I was a bull in a china shop, because I was like, the world had ripped through me. The world had ripped me a new ass, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, the world had ripped through me so steadily and consistently, and I had learned so many things. Sometimes you want to just grab them and be like, don't ever fucking let a man tell you la la la. You know, you want to just like take your experience and grab them and bring them close to you and exhale into their mouth like your experience, and be like, take it, don't be a dumb bitch like I was. Like, that's kind of what I wanted to do, but of course it was not my place, it was not my space. Their life could have been completely different than mine, and so it was inappropriate to want to grab them by the throat and exhale into their mouth like the, you know, like, and so it's just rude, right? That's rude, right? And that's a weird thinking. Like, who thinks like that? I do, because my life was really fucked up, and I was like, the closer I got to these little 18-year-olds that I was working with, and like, I tried to stay far away from them, because I was like, oh God, I knew in my brain that one day they would get hurt too. And the closer I got to them, the more love I felt for them, the more I wanted to protect them. And the more, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. The more I knew I could not. And the worse I felt. And the more I wanted to swan dive into traffic. Like, the more I realized that these doe-eyed, beautiful creatures that were coming into the shop and working there, I tried my hardest to be professional and stay, whatever. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's it. Because I like hanging out with older people, older folks, and just picking their brain because I know that they're wise enough. They're wise. The earth, the planet, the universe has already ripped into them quite a lot. And so I feel safer around like 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds than I do around 18-year-olds because they have seen so much. I have seen just quite enough to to resonate with them. And when I look at people younger than me, I go, oh my God, the world's going to rip into them. And I can't do anything about it. I can't protect them, and I want to. I really fucking want to, but I can't. There's like this weird law of non-interference that happens. Like, I can't even tell you. I can't save you. I never could. Yeah, and it kills me a little bit. It really does. And so I don't know. Yeah. So I felt safer around the guy who was a Mason and his wife than I did around the 18-year-olds. I was like, protect me from the 18-year-olds. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know what I know. But you guys know. And they were just like in love with life. And I guess I was just like, oh God. And that was kind of triggering, I suppose, because I was like, I used to love life too. I used to love life. And then I was just like, somebody would come into the shop and I'd be like, how can I help you? Please save me. I'm starting to, like, my heart was on fire. It felt like it was every day it was like warming up and cracking, and it hurt. And I was just like, please don't let these poor girls fall into the pitfalls that I did. And they didn't care. I tried to warn one of them and they didn't give a fuck. And instead of her listening to what I had to say, I think she fucked her dad's best friend from church. And I was like, that is the exact opposite of what I just said. Girl. Like, here's the thing. People are like, we listen, we don't judge. Who's we? I'm scared. That frightens me. I don't trust you. Like, that kind of activity, like, that's some paranormal activities. I mean, like, that is kind of a big, strange thing. We confided in each other. I told you some things, and you, like, clocked out and went and fucked your dad's best friend from church. Are you okay? Are you okay, Ben? Anything you want to talk about? No? Okay. Watching her rip through, and you know what, then it got to the point where she was like preying on older men. Oh God, I had to stay away from her because she was like ripping through older men, and I was like, oh my God, you guys. What then? All the thoughts that I had, I was like, oh, they're older, they're smarter, they're not going to fall for this stuff. Some of them do. Some of them, it's like right back to initiation time. You figure that because they had already been through so many things in their life that they would know the lesson. And this girl came, she was a walking lesson. She was a walking lesson. She scared the shit out of me. She just ripped through everybody. I was so confused. I was like, why did you guys hire her? What are you doing? Why are y'all protecting her? Why are y'all keeping her here? What is happening? Yeah, it was very, very confusing. It was strange to watch her work. It was strange. Sometimes it is strange to watch humans, whenever you step back and you go, oh God, this has nothing to do with me. And you step back and you go, whew. It's like witnessing a train wreck in slow motion, and you're chained up and you can't do anything about it. There's tons of casualties, and yeah, that was horrible. Anyways, yeah, it's anyways. So yeah, it frightened me to be around the younger girls because they were like, it hurt me when they would come to work and one of them would be like glazed over and heartbroken and stricken by something that had happened. Number one, it triggered me back to when it happened to me when I was your age, and it happened to me too. And so it was like the reigniting of like this burning within me. And it's like, okay, well, she is younger, she's on a different path. You can give her wisdom from where you've been, and help her through this. You could help her transition where nobody else was there for me when I was in these hellish places. At least nobody physically. There was always the other things. And so yeah. So yeah, at least I could physically be there for somebody, and so I was. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so now I just don't trust human beings anymore. Hi, yeah. Anyway, so like now I just don't trust anybody at all. Period. No. I remember when I was 18, I was working at a Vietnamese shop. How do you say, restaurant. I was working at a Vietnamese restaurant, and also at this this bakery that was this woman from, is it the, okay, back then she said she was from Czechoslovakia, but now I think it's just Czech. She was Czech. I don't know words. I don't know what's going on in Europe, babe. I'm in Texas and I barely know what's going on here. So yeah, she was, okay, I'm just going to, I'm 32. When I was 18, I worked at a bakery in the morning from 2 o'clock in the morning until 12. And I was I had a key. I was a key bearer, whatever. I was a key holder. And so I would open it for the bakers to come in, and I got really close with the owner, and she had this old recipe from Czech. She was a Czech recipe. I don't know. Does that sound right? Does those words sound right? Anyways, she was Czech. I don't. What's this word? I'm a Texan. I'm Hispanic. I'm Mexican. She was Czech. I don't know. From her great great grandmother, she had like personal family recipes that were secret that nobody else could know. And her food is so good. It was so good. I think it still is good now. But yeah, I used to work at this Czech bakery in the morning, and then at night from 2 o'clock until I think about 8 o'clock, I worked at the Vietnamese restaurant. And the chemical plant workers here, they would wait. They had the same kind of a routine that I did. Like in the mornings, they would eat at the Czech bakery, and at night they would actually go, or the middle of the day, like lunch to night, they would eat at the Vietnamese place when they got off of work. So when they were going to work, when they got off of work, I was at both places. So a lot of the times they were like, "How many fucking places do you work, bitch?" And I was just like, as many as I need to survive. I was 18, I'm 32 now. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. If you're poor and you don't have a family, you're going to need to make money. Okay, so I was working there in the morning, and I think I got like $14 an hour. It's like 11 or 12 or $14 an hour. And then I went to be a waitress at night, and then I got like, $2 an hour plus tips. It was horrible, but you did what you had to. At least I did. So, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a marine biologist, and other than like a director, like I wanted to go and make movies. I had like a very specific vision of how I wanted my life to go, and it did not go that way, but that's fine. That is okay. So yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to be a director, and I wanted to make movies. I wanted to make my own movies through like with the vision that I have in my head, because I have a lot of very vivid dreams. And so I wanted to like make that to where other people can see what I see through my brain, my perspective, you know? Yeah, so anyways. So other than that, I wanted to be a marine biologist to an extent. I lived by the coast and that just seemed possible. But as you get older and you're poor, and you start thinking to yourself, maybe dreams are shit. Maybe it's shit. Maybe I'm shit. Maybe this is not my lot. Maybe I don't need to go and be a director somewhere in Hollywood or whatever. La, 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 la. Maybe I don't need to go to film school. Maybe like all these, your dreams start shattering as you start getting older and life happens and things, and it's like you take hits from life or something. I don't know. I don't know. So I was like taking direct hits, and my dreams are slowly fading and whatnot. But a lot of the guys at the chemical plants, some of the high hats, some of the higher ups, would see me in the morning and they'd see me in the evening, and so they knew me to an extent. A lot of the police did too. They knew me as the girl who worked at the bakery, at the Czech bakery, and then also as the girl who worked at the Vietnamese restaurant. And so, yeah, and I had a longboard skateboard, and I would skateboard to work at the bakery and at the restaurant. That's how I got there. I did not have a car. I had a skateboard, so I was skateboarding to work. Yeah, and so it was very, very difficult. When I wasn't doing that, I was surfing. I had a very, very, I still do have I think it's an 8-foot surfboard. And so people are like, there's no surf in Texas. There's not, but you could still surf nothing. There's still tiny waves that you could surf in and have fun with. There's better surf under the piers in Galveston. A lot of the better surfers in South Texas go surf Galveston, South Padre, stuff like that. But where I live, you just surf what you can. You know what I mean? Sometimes people go and jump off the jetties and in the very deep waters and then try. It's like that. They go and jump off and then they come in, but that's dangerous. There's tons of hooks and stuff out there, and it's rude for the fishermen and things like that. To be like, excuse me, man, with a surfboard and like go plop off the jetties and be like, you know. So anyways, when I wasn't working 2 jobs and skateboarding to work every day, I was surfing as an 18-year-old, and just life was, you know, whatever. But there was a man who, he was one of the higher ups at the chemical plant, and he noticed me. I was noticeable, and people prey on you. People prey on you. So he tried preying on me, but I was taking so many hits from life that I started, my dreams are cracking and breaking and falling and whatever. And so one day he started becoming nicer to me, and he was like, hey, if you could do anything in the world, what would you want to do? And I was just like, oh, what the fuck do you want, bitch? You know, like I started not trusting humans. I was in my fuck humans, they suck dick kind of phase in that part of my life. And anyways, it was so strange to see when I was 18 years old versus these other girls when they were 18, and then like all these like fears in my head, compulsions to try to save their lives, which I could not, so fuck it. Anyways, I'm not Captain Save-A-Ho, but I was definitely trying to. Fuck me, right? Fuck me for being dumb, right? Trying to help somebody, fuck me, right? So anyways, no, but this man, he came up to me and he was like, what would you want to do? And at the top of my head, I was like, I've always wanted to be a marine biologist. And he was like, well, you won't believe this, but I actually have helped somebody become a marine biologist. And I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. I didn't say that to him because he was a customer and I was trying to get a tip. I was like, wow, really? But not believing his shit. And then he was like, yeah, there's a girl that works, it was about a town away at a very popular inn restaurant. And he was telling me a story about her, how actually she wanted to be a marine biologist. And I live in South Texas. There is water here. There is coast stuff. And there are people who are involved in that kind of thing. So it wasn't far-fetched. It wasn't like abstract that he would be doing these things or whatever. But just for me to say that, and then for him to be like, well, oh, I could give you that, you know? And I was like, why would you do that? He's like, well, if you want to, I actually have some land and you could come and study on my land marine biology. We actually have ponds and tanks that you can come and take care of things and whatnot. He had like a whole setup, and it was so fucking strange. It was such a strange like coincidency thingy that I said something and he was the perfect man for the job, and he asked. He asked, I said, and he was. And that freaked me out. That was weird. And he said, well, actually, there was another girl, and I guess he was like a Captain Save-A-Ho. He said he would, um, if I was, after a couple of months of working on his land, like in between my shifts, and like tending to the marine stuff he had going on, he could get me a sponsorship to go and actually do more marine biology stuff in Antarctica. So here's what happened. He told me that there was a girl at the inn slash restaurant down the way, and she had a son. She was a single mother, a son, working many jobs like I was. The perfect candidate for somebody like this, right? Like the perfect candidate is a single mother needing something to change her world, right? And here comes Mr. Right. Here comes Mr. Sly. And he said that he actually helped her pay her college, and got her a sponsorship. And now she does sample testing in Antarctica. Her and her son, they have a place that they live up on a base there or something like that. And she tests the samples out of Antarctica and whatnot. And I was like, oh, okay. And every time, like, he told me the story about her, and that she used to work there, and now she doesn't work there. Now she lives in Antarctica with her son, and they do drilling there, and then she does sample testing and marine biology within the sample testing and stuff like that. And so he was like, I can do that for you too. I've done it already before, it's no big deal. I have the connections, I have the money, I have the land, I have everything for you. And so every time he would come in, he'd be like, hey, do you want to take me up on that offer? Do you want to take me up on that offer? I gotta talk to my people, la la la. And it just didn't sit right with me. It did not sit right with me. There was something to the offer was too big for somebody who had nothing to do with me. The offer was too magnificent, and I was frightened. The offer was too good, and it was so strange. And he was like, well, you can go and live in Antarctica, and I mean, she's did it, you did it, and then do your marine biology there, and la 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 la. I mean, you're surrounded by water, you're surrounded by water. And he was a very high up person. He had the money, he had the resources. It was just, does that not sit right with you? It didn't sit right with me that a man was going restaurant to restaurant, plucking young mothers, and she was like 20. I was 18. Just plucking young mothers and sending them to Antarctica to go like practice, like to sample. That didn't sit right with me. And it was my dream. It was like so good. And it was like an all free, but you know that there is something darker and deeper there. Anyways, as I get older, I think about that man. Sometimes I think about that strange man with a lot of money and power and connections, and it was like the most perfect offer that you could have been offered as somebody with no money, poor, 2 jobs in the shithole, wanting to see the world, wanting to go, yearning, like you could see it in my eyes that I was different and I needed to go and do and fucking sense and whatnot. That was so tempting, and so it was like it was strange fruit from a strange vine, and it was so fucking tempting. And I think about that a lot. I think about that too much. And it scares me because I start thinking he wanted me to go and basically stay on his land and take care of it. There are so many parts to this story. It just scared me. And so I guess that's what I'm trying to get back to, is the whole, when I was 18 and people were offering me strange fruit from strange vines, and my dreams were looking like they were almost real. If it is too good to be true, sometimes it is too good to be true. Sometimes it is a lie in a very beautiful, all expenses paid package to Antarctica. What is that? Oh my god! Ew! Oh my god. Anyways, sometimes, yeah, I think about that and I go, bitch, was I about to get like trafficked or something? Like, I think of like all the possibilities because it didn't happen. And so because it did not solidify, I think about all of the what could have happened. You know, I think about all of the what could have happened to me. Like, would I be here today? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's so bizarre. It's such a, I've had a very strange life. And so whenever I was hanging out with my little friends, they weren't my friends, they were my coworkers. I was literally the nighttime manager, and these little girls would come in and they were like, I have dreams. And then one of them was like, I want to go be a director and be an actress in movies and la. And she was going to film. She was going to the University of San Antonio for film and acting and all this stuff. And I was just like, I was a young girl once. Like, I was just like seeing that, like her love in her eyes, and seeing that in like her eyes the reflection of me just broken, like from life, from other things, and being like, I used to dream like that. I used to, like, if perhaps had I had parents, two parents, she had two parents, and her family was rich, so maybe if I was handed a different lot, like maybe I would have became an actress, director, theater student. Like, you know what I mean? And so, like, yeah, sometimes it just, like, it would break my heart seeing them. One, it wasn't that I was jealous. I was just so, like, broken, I guess. I wasn't, like, jealous, like, oh my god, she has parents, and they're rich, and she's going to college, and she's perfect. Whoa, actually, no, I was kind of, like, in awe. I was like, wow, this is amazing. How can I protect you from everything bad ever, because I want you to go so fucking far. And so it frightened me. And I don't know, they're gonna have their own pitfalls, they're gonna fall into their own shit, they have their own set of vices and morals and values and experiences. And so maybe she wouldn't have, maybe, I don't know. I just yeah. And so it would just be me kind of sitting back while all the younger girls were working. I would just be sitting back with the old ladies and our tarot cards and our gossip, knitting, kind of hanging out, watching. Because I was like ancient in my body, in a young woman's body, just this ancient soul that has gone through so much crazy stuff. Yeah, it sucked. It sucked because I was just like, I can't save them. I can't save them even if I tried. I couldn't. Oh no. Whoops. But at least I saved myself to an extent. I have like a million other stories to tell, but that was one that was so strange. Like, how can you go home to your family and be like, hey, a guy showed up at my job. He knew me from my other job. He's been showing up at both of my jobs and asked me if I wanted to, like, he was going to pay for me to become a marine biologist so he could, like, send me to Antarctica. How do you explain that to somebody? I sound crazy, but it happened. That's crazy. Oh well, whatever. Okay. That's not the only weird thing that happened. Some guy offered to like paint me. He also came into both of my jobs and he was like, hey, can I paint you? Can you come over to my house and let me paint you? And I was just like, I'm in a relationship with someone. I was like, paint me how? I was like, oh my god. It's always scary because it's just people, just, I don't know. Like when I was younger, a lot of men were like gawking at me and stuff. It scared me. It frightened me. Because I didn't know how to bite people, and now I'll bite somebody and I'll rip it straight off. When I was younger, it was just too nice. And now that I'm old, or there is just this violence within me that is just begging for somebody to do. So I may, you know what I mean? Like, so that I may as well do something. Like, you do something, and then I'm gonna do something far worse. But yeah, I wonder sometimes who I would be had I had parents. I wonder sometimes who I would be had I had parents or family that were a little bit more well off, or like if I had parents that were, attentive, or had I not, I had deviations in the crossroads. I think about that sometimes. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Sorry. This is a long one. I'm gonna have to edit this down. Oh god, I probably spoke too much about things I shouldn't say anything about. Oh well. I hope you guys are doing well. I have a copy of American Gods coming in the mail. And today that book, Meeting the Other Crowd, is supposed to be here. So I'm very, very excited to read it. I'm gonna go see, I'm still reading this one, Song of the Dark Man. I'm still reading this one. And then, and I also have The Trial. I'm reading Crime and Punishment, 1984, Animal Farm, The Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. Yeah. Oh, I have a book. They accidentally sent me a book. Miss Lonely Hearts. What else is on my nightstand? Let's see. Is it The Lighthouse? I think it's another Sylvia Plath. I have Frankenstein. What else? Oh, and then there's a Zodiac book I have to read. It's in French, so I have to, like, how do you say? I have to every sentence I'm going to translate, so that way I'll have my own, and I'll have like a blank book of just translated that book. You know what I mean? So that way it's gonna help me understand French more, but also to devour. If it's more difficult and I have to pay all attention to it and I have to do multiple steps, then my brain absorbs it better. Does that make sense? I don't know. I have a fucked off brain. I've hit it many times. Like I said, I used to skateboard. I've taken some dives, babe. I've also been in a car wreck where I died and came back. Yeah, I still have my longboard skateboard, and I still have my longboard surfboard. So we still surf, and sometimes I get, like, when it's really late at night, I put on my, I don't put on my boots because they have wooden heels, and so it slides on the skateboard, but I'll put on my, shoes. I have some Vans shoes, like Vans, like off the wall, right? I'll put my Vans on really late at night, and I take my skateboard out, and I skateboard down my road whenever nobody's looking. I'm such a loser. Like, I still skateboard. My skateboard has Jimi Hendrix on it, and he becomes a volcano, and his brain and thought forms at the top of the volcano. It's really cool. Anyways, I've had that one for like 16 years, I think. Yeah, just about 16 years almost. Yeah, so anyways, I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go check the